Welcome back to the SmallSat Revolution, powered by GomSpace. I'm your host, Frank Felker. I'm joined today by Dr. Laila Kazemi, Technical Chair at the Small Satellite Conference and founder of Star Forge, a space research and technology company with headquarters in Leuven, Belgium, and Toronto, Canada. Dr. Laila Kazemi, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Frank, for the introduction, as well as having me as part of your podcast.
I'm so glad that you're here. You had a lot of interesting things going on and things to share with us. I'm interested, you've been attending the SmallSat show for many years, but this is the first time that you'll be coming as the founder of your own company. I'm curious, with the storied career that you've had in the industry, what was it that inspired you to strike out on your own?
Founding Star Forge was both a professional and as well as a personal decision on my part. Over the past decade, I really had the privilege of contributing into high impact and innovative programs in the small satellite industry, particularly when it comes to the star tracker development. And I worked with a number of truly outstanding companies. But over the time, I realized at the pace that I like to work and progress my innovation, and the part how I envision it to be a multidisciplinary collaboration between different companies was only really achievable throughout my own venture rather than a traditional employment structure. So that realization led to the founding of and creation of Star Forge, where we are focusing on different emerging technologies such as optical navigations, and we're working in close partnership with other companies and research institutes. So our goal is to rethink space mission autonomy from deep space exploration to national defense and security and disaster response.
Wow, that's pretty broad, very ambitious. Now, as you mentioned, your work in the past and your name has been primarily associated with star trackers, and now you're branching out into additional technologies, optical sensors, and so forth. What might we expect to see coming from Star Forge in the near future?
So my background, as you mentioned, is mostly in the star cameras, and they're essentially a camera paired with onboard processing units. They take an image of the sky, they recognize a pattern within the stars in the image. From there, they are able to estimate a spacecraft attitude. As the small satellite missions are becoming more complex, there is a more growing demand, an opportunity to realize the optical sensors beyond the traditional attitude estimation. So rather than relying on just identifying the pattern within the stars, we like to take a look at these sensors and see if they can interpolate and recognize other patterns within their field of view for navigation. That opens the door for a wide range of applications. It goes from estimating relative position and motion of the objects that are near to identifying craters and landmark navigation for precision landing and approach to other celestial bodies like Moon, Mars, as well as asteroids and beyond.
I know you can only speak so much to proprietary technology that you're developing and so forth, but what sort of benefits and innovations in these particular areas, such as landing on planets or surveying planet surfaces and this type of thing, what sort of improvements, I guess is the word I might use, can your client base or the industry as a whole expect that you may bring forth in the coming years?
So, type of sensors that we want to develop, it would be more, has a broader application, and it would be able to be adaptable to the environment. So if the stars are within the field of view, it would be able to operate as a traditional star tracker. But if other celestial bodies come into its field of view or other objects, it would also be able to recognize them, track them, and be able to identify them. That would make the overall instrumentation on the satellite itself very compact. And as you know, with the small satellites, power, weight, and as well as volume are very restricted. Having a sensor that is have a broader application and is able to perform as a multi-navigation system greatly benefits future missions.
That makes sense. And yes, as you say, mass, volume, power requirements, and so forth are always critical in the small sat world. And having a single sensor that can perform multiple functions makes a lot of sense. Now, here's a question sort of from a different area. I noticed, and I mentioned in the opening, that your company is based both in Belgium and in Canada. Can you speak to why that is and what sort of benefits that will bring to Starforge?
So we're operating across both Belgium and Canada. It allows us to engage more effectively with our partners and stakeholders both in North America and Europe. This dual presence is just not about logistic, but it really also reflects our company culture, which we are emphasizing a very close integration with the broader space ecosystems. So being embedded in two different innovation hub, and it allows us to access wider range of funding opportunities. It allows us access to a broader talent pool and working within the different regulatory frameworks. It would aid us to stay more agile and responsive to the regional needs, as well as it helps to structure and scale our R&D more effectively and accelerate the pace of innovation through active collaborations.
Now, you may have spoken to that, but is it also true that you can tap into a wider range of talent by having a footprint in both continents?
Yes, that is true. I have a really good relationship with my own university, Toronto Metropolitan University, as well as have already established a relationship with KU Leuven, especially Group T campus. So through that, we are able to have an access to the students that are just finishing up their degree. They are looking into starting their career. And again, the company culture, we really like to be a place where we are fostering young talent, allowing them to start their career in a very good streak and being able to broaden their horizon in both technical and networking manner.
That's great. And I know that's something very important to you and part of your association with the Small Satellite Conference. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, I understand that one of the papers that you'll be presenting at the conference goes all the way back to a passion project you've been working on since your master's thesis. Could you tell us about that?
So during my master's thesis, I started this project as a kind of a curiosity-driven experiment. It was whether to see if it's possible to detect other spacecraft with extremely low cost sensor, something that essentially was a simple household item, Microsoft Kinect. It was more of a technical challenge at the time rather than looking for it as a practical solution. But fast forward to now, that challenge has become like a real and pressing issues in the small satellite industry. There's a growing number of space debris and congestion in orbit, and safe operation is more critical than ever. Now, looking at it, there's an increase in regulatory mandates that every spacecraft should contribute to the clean space initiatives and comply with the deorbiting and collision avoidance guideline. For small satellite, again, we go back to a very tight constraint for mass, budget, and power. And in this case, this project became more interesting. It was like timely to go back into it and finish it up, but it was also seen as a necessity. It was good to see how I can build up on something that I started almost a decade ago to see if it could be adapted to meet one of the industry's urgent needs.
And well, I guess I was going to ask you almost, I guess, to give away the ending of the story, but people will have to come and see your presentation at the conference to find out what the end of the story is there as far as what you've learned. Now, you spoke a moment ago about developing younger talent and helping younger people get their foothold in the industry. And I know that's something that's very important to you. And part of what you're doing, in fact, with students at the conference. Could you expand on that a little bit for us? Talk to us about students that you have who will be at the conference and just your overall focus on mentorship.
I myself greatly benefited through mentorship toward my early career, and it helps me really increase and broaden my opportunities. So I see it both as a responsibility and also a privilege to pay that forward. So I like to be an advocate and a guide for the younger engineers that are starting out, especially those who are looking for the space industry career. I'm currently involved with the initiative by KU Leuven University called Women in STEM, where I'm mentoring female engineering students in their final years. It's been incredibly rewarding to see how these students grow and how do they take their work with the Star Forge after an award. Recently, one of the students that worked with me was a finalist in Women STEM Initiative by NATO in 2025. She got to present her work in NATO headquarters in Brussels. And from that, she was also featured in local newspapers by Romanian, because she's originally from Romania. My students have also been a finalist student, SmallSat student competition, both last year as well as this year. So they will be attending with me as well. And beyond these formal programs, Star Forge door is always open to the students. They can, approach us for internship or possible thesis topic collaborations. We really like to give the student the opportunity to work on real space problems and real space hardware to get a taste of what the industry is about.
There's something I'm picking up on during our conversation here, Laila, which is you opening your own company is giving you the opportunity to not only focus your intellect and your energies on challenges that are of interest to you, but it's giving you the opportunity to create a corporate culture of the type you've just described, and allowing you to pay it forward for the people who had helped you along the way.
Yes, absolutely, Frank. That was kind of one of the goals that I had with the Star Forge. It wasn't just a professional decision, it was sort of personal as well, because I wanted to make a different type of corporate culture where it's based on colleagues helping each other, fostering, and everyone growing together. Even as a company, we like to be very well integrated with other collaborators and other friends in the industry. So I see it as this industry, we all need to grow together, and we will all be able to achieve this mission that we have by further increasing collaboration rather than competition.
That's tremendous. It's just a wonderful spirit and energy that's emanating from yourself and from what you're doing. And I have no doubt that you're going to find a lot of success with your new company. Now, if somebody was interested in learning more about Star Forge, either the mentorship opportunities or perhaps becoming a client of yours, what's the best way for them to do that?
We are always open into having a discussion with potential collaborators. So they can reach us at our LinkedIn page or my own personal LinkedIn page, as well as our website, starforge.ca.
Now, we're just about out of time here, but I always like to close by asking my guests if there's a question that I should have asked you, which I have not, or if you'd like to elaborate further on something you've said, or if something has occurred to you that you'd like to share before we go.
So I'd like to elaborate a little bit about what we do and how it has impact in a dual use environment. So it has a dual use application. So one of the compelling aspects of the optical navigation technology is very versatile across multiple domains. On the interplanetary side, the sensors enables autonomous navigation when there is no GPS signal or if they're operating in a GPS denied environment. And that's very critical when you're operating in Mars, Moon, or other celestial bodies. So it allows the spacecraft to make real-time decisions based on visual cues and operate safely and reach mission autonomy. But these capabilities are not actually just limited to the spacecraft and the space environment. In scenarios where it involves electromagnetic attacks or GNSS signal loss, other platforms could also very benefit from optical navigations to enabling them to independently have autonomous decision making. So the core technology of Star Forge could also be extended to applications in aviations, naval operations, as well as ISR UAVs.
Laila Kazemi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Farhan, for having me, and thank the SmallSat team for nominating me for this opportunity.
Thanks again to Dr. Kazemi, and thank you for joining us. Until next time, I'm Frank Felker saying I'll see you in space. The SmallSat Revolution podcast is powered by GomSpace, with platforms, components, systems, and services to meet every SmallSat requirement. GomSpace brings their innovative technologies and a flight heritage of over 2,000 successful deployments to your next mission. GomSpace, leading the SmallSat revolution. Learn more at gomspace.com.